Hi everybody, thanks for being here. Happy Friday. We're going to be talking about anticipating kindergarten today and 10 things that you can do in the months leading up to your child's first day of school. So right before I posted this video, I put up a list of the 10 things. Those are what we're going to be going through today. And right now we're recording in May. It's definitely not too early to be talking to your child about their first day of school, because the more familiar it feels, the less anxious they will be and you will be leading up to that big step, the first day of school. So don't forget, when we're talking about anticipation, the idea of something is always so much bigger than the reality of it. So I think I have some tools today to help you feel empowered so that you can support your child on this process. All right, so let's get started. That anticipation is going to be starting, from the first day that you register your child for school. And a lot of you, that was this winter. So you're going to be thinking, what do they need to know for school? Are they prepared? What can I do to help them feel prepared? What do they not know that they need to know? And I can assure you that it's probably less than you think, and they are ready. There's a big difference between your child right now and your child in September. I promise they're going to be changing, and they do have what it takes to succeed in school. So make sure you feel that way. Make sure that you are telling them that they are ready so that they are feeling confident going into this new adventure. So let's talk about these 10 things. My goal really is to help you make the unfamiliar more familiar. Okay? We're only afraid of things that we don't know about. So how can we help our children really learn about school before school begins? That's the idea. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to set a goal. I want you to think about what your goal is for your child during junior kindergarten. It's their first year into school, and they hopefully have a long, amazing school career ahead of them. We want them to love school. Think about what you want your child to get out of the first year of school and share that with your partner. Preferably write it down so that you can be revisiting that throughout the year, because whatever that goal is, whether it's to make friends or learn a new skill or be more independent, whatever that skill is, you want to verbalize that with the teacher so that they can get on board and support your goal. And you want to reflect that goal with the time and the money and the energy that you have. So instead of focusing on a whole bunch of different things right now, pick one goal, and then that will sort of focus your attention for the year. I find that really helpful. The second thing is reading picture books, okay? Not any kinds of picture books. Obviously, you're probably reading to your child every day anyways. I want you to start selecting picture books that have to do with school, all right? And I have a few examples to show with you today. These are books that have school settings, all right? This is all about making school come alive for them. They're going to learn new language. They are going to pick up vocabulary, and they're going to watch characters go through some conflict resolution, and that's going to really help with the anticipation. So I have a few for you here today. There's no real science to this. Go to your library, go to Chapters, go to Amazon, go on Google and search books for starting school. There's hundreds, thousands probably, and as long as they have positive messaging about school, then pick up a few, borrow them from a friend, whatever. We have Kindergarten Countdown here. This is probably backwards for you, but I'll write this list in the comments below. Kindergarten Rocks, Pete the Cat, Too Cool for School, Kindergarten ABC, A School Trip, If You Take a Mouse to School. Now this is just a random selection that I picked out of my daughter's bookshelf, and obviously I use these in my classroom in September. Ready, Set, Kindergarten, Franklin's Class Trip. Love the Franklin series for this age group. Chrysanthemum, really cute one about a little mouse's name. And yes, that's the list. So I'm going to post that if you want something to get started, but I found a really great quote from thehappiesthome.com and talking about the importance of these kinds of books in the anticipation process. So I'm going to read that to you. If there is one thing that I've learned about helping kids adjust to scary situations, it's talking about what to expect that really helps. And one of the best ways to do this is by reading to her. Hearing about the book's characters, their worries, their fears, and then ultimately seeing that everything turns out okay in the end not only helps the child know what to expect, but reassures her that she'll do just fine too. Even if your child has already begun the school year, it's a good idea to keep reading about school experiences. You never know what situations might come up in a few weeks or a few months into the school year. Find issues about substitute teachers, hard time mastering the alphabet. The more you talk about things, the more this will help your child deal with whatever is on their mind. Plus, a lot of these books encounter characters who reach a challenge and find something that they don't know how to do, and it's okay. That's the point, right? Your child doesn't have to know everything before the first day of school. They're entering school to learn. So for them to know that other kids are feeling this way too, other kids don't know how to tie their shoes, don't know the alphabet, don't know whatever it is, that's going to make them feel like it's okay, like they're not alone, like they are ready. So these are the kinds of messages we want to be giving them. All right, number 3, visit the schoolyard. All right, my next video is about the orientation, and that's going to be when you're inside the building. But I want you to purposefully and intentionally visit the schoolyard. I'm going to assume that the school that your child is enrolled at is in your neighborhood. So I want you to go out of your way a little bit to drive past the school on a fairly regular basis. Aim for once a week between now and school. Maybe it's on the way to the grocery store. You just go a couple blocks out of the way so that you are looking at the building and you're saying, "Hi, school," and you're using the child's name and you're helping them feel like they can recognize this new place. If it's within walking distance or biking distance, that's a great place to go and hang out. Even get in the car and pack a picnic. There's nothing wrong with using the schoolyard after school hours. So during the evening or on weekends, this is a good place to be hanging out. For example, last summer, I intentionally signed up my daughter for soccer lessons, and the locations varied all over the city, but I chose the field at her new school because I thought what a great opportunity to be visiting the school on a regular basis. And they're going to feel really proud about this, and they're going to feel really excited about visiting their new school. So absolutely be visiting the schoolyard, and don't be worried about the inside, because we'll talk about that later, but the yard is yours. And it's not a bad idea to practice your drop-off and pickup routines too. So that might mean pulling through the kiss and ride in your car and telling them, this is the kindy yard and this is the side of the car you're gonna get off in, and mommy's gonna come around and open the door, or if your child's taking the bus, here's where the bus pulls up, here's what you're gonna do. And they're envisioning themselves going through those motions, and that's really gonna help them mentally prepare and feel secure. Number 4, talk to your preschool. Hopefully your child's in some sort of program. It might be a preschool, it might be a daycare, it might be something part-time, full-time, whatever it is. That person who's spending all this time with your child is probably doing some things to prepare them for school. So talk to them about what that is. Ask them what you can do at home to support what they're doing in that daycare or preschool program, so that you can use the same kind of language and you can continue the work that they're doing during the day. There are also programs. So number 5, look into programs. Your neighborhood might have a child's center, an early years center, where there's a Get Set for School program. You can inquire about this. There's one in my neighborhood. It's absolutely free. The city might also be offering something. So inquire, because these are usually available for 3 and 4-year-olds who are about to begin the school experience. And they go through some pretty neat stuff. They go through routines and different skills that they're going to need around cutting and pasting and alphabet and numbers, songs, listening, carpet time, using a lunchbox, those kinds of things. So you can absolutely do them at home, but it's always great to get someone else's perspective, and it's also great to see your child in a setting with other kids. Number 6 is visit the optometrist. This is a really important one that a lot of parents overlook. It's a great time for your child to get their eyes checked. They probably haven't had an eye exam up to this point, and starting school is the right time to do it. You can log on to something online called iSeeILearn. And the iSeeILearn program is making eye exams free for school-age children. So everybody entering junior kindergarten automatically receives a free eye exam. So if you don't have benefits and you need your child's eyes checked, they'll even cover their first pair of glasses, which is amazing. This is a really important skill because you might not know, and they might not know, if they aren't seeing exactly the way they should be. So I've had a student in my class before where they were lagging on a couple of different skills around reading readiness, and they were resisting books, time with books. There was some silly behavior around books, and it turned out that that child was having trouble seeing. Once she got glasses on, her whole world changed, and her personality even changed a little bit because she was literally seeing her classroom for the first time, and she was starting to really engage differently with the people around her and with print material. So let's just rule that out. Before you start school, get your kids' eyes checked, and then you know that it's just not a problem, because if there are any learning issues in the future, that's the first thing that the school is going to suggest, is that you have their eyes checked, and ears too would be number 2. Okay, strengthen the hands. So important. I know my teaching partner on here is saying, yes, this is something that you can do way ahead of time. In fact, it started when your baby, your child was a tiny little 6-month-old, starting to eat Cheerios on the high chair and using their pincer grasp. That's really when fine motor began. In fact, I mean, you could argue tummy time has a lot to do with it too. But there's some interesting research out there, and it's very important that the small muscles, in your child's hands are really going to help them use scissors and hold a crayon or a pencil when the time is ready. This skill takes time. So if you haven't already let your child cut, then do it. Go get some scissors and don't worry about it. Make sure that the ends aren't sharp. Make sure that they're child scissors, and let them cut. Give them a bowl of scrap paper and let them just go to town, because this is really important. They need to be strengthening their hands. They need to be moving those muscles. When they go to write their name, make lines and circles and name, that's the first step in handwriting. They're really going to need strength in their hands. And this is going to help them with their control. It's going to help them make sure that their lines aren't shaky. It's going to help them make that letter size shrink down, because we know when they're young, they're printing really large. So fine motor suggestions, so important. This is a big part of the work that I do with parents in my classroom. You can start now all summer long. Google fine motor suggestions. Google pre-writing activities for preschoolers. Note that in the United States, and a lot of these blogs and websites might be US, preschool actually means junior kindergarten, because they do not have junior kindergarten in the US. So if you're seeing a US blog with preschool activities and it looks like it's appropriate, it probably is absolutely on target. I will post a couple things because I already have some great resources that I want to share with you. So start right away. I could do a whole video on handwriting and printing, but start with strengthening the hands, okay? And you're gonna go into these links and figure it out. But scissors, crayons, bubble wrap, clothes pegs, Play-Doh, so important, so important. All right. I'm going to move on. to number 8, which is co-create a calendar. As you're anticipating the first day of school in September, the month of September is so abstract to them, right? This is far away. They're going to want to know what that looks like, and when is my last day of daycare, and when is my first day of school. And if you have graduated entry, that first week's really confusing because they're visiting for an hour and then they're going for a half of a day, and then this is their first real day of school, and this day mommy comes with you, but this day mommy doesn't come with you. And when that time approaches, let the child lead. Let them ask you. They're going to have a lot of questions about that. This is the right time to make a calendar together. So professionals that I work with, colleagues, they've known that I've grappled with the idea of calendar in junior kindergarten, and there's a lot of stuff out there that's saying it's not age appropriate. So I've done calendar in my classroom and I've not done calendar in my classroom. But it wasn't until this year that I was a JK mom that I realized that my daughter absolutely needed a calendar. And there were things about the calendar that weren't necessary, and there were things about the calendar that were necessary. She wanted to know about special days and events. She didn't need to know that 7 days were stacked on top of 7 days, and she didn't need numbers on it. So I want you to think outside the box when it comes to the calendar. I created one with our daughter that looks like a film strip. It's really important that you're making this together, that you don't make something beautiful at night while they're sleeping and then present it to them, because that's not meaningful. You have to get that piece of paper and have them drawing on it and talk through it, what makes sense to them, and really co-create the calendar, because that's when it's going to really add value and meaning to their life and their understanding of a timeline. So I'm going to post that picture of my daughter's film strip calendar, because really, these blocks were the days and the lines were the nights, and we put a picture of a backpack when it was a school day, and we put a picture of her daycare provider on the days when she was still in daycare, because this was very much of a phase that we transitioned through. So hopefully that will help with you. Keep it on the fridge, keep it low, tape it to a wall, make it theirs. Let them change it as you go, let them add to it. Definitely let your child take the lead. You will know what to do because they will inform you. Number 9 is practice new gear. There is some shopping involved in going back to school. I'm going to do a whole video on how you can spend your money properly on the right things that really make sense for this age group, because I've seen a lot of people come into school and just waste their money and trip their own child up. They don't even know. And there are things that you can do to really save them hassle and make their life feel more independent. And these things should be purchased in advance. So this isn't a shop that you do at the end of August. This is a shop that you might be doing in June or July, even now, but definitely a full month ahead of time, because I want your child wearing their backpack. I want your child eating out of their lunchbox at the dinner table with your family. These items should not be new to your child. These items should be very familiar. Remember, there might be in a class with 27 people, 27 little children who just got new backpacks, and if they're all lined up against a wall on their hooks, they need to be able to recognize that item. They need to take ownership for that item. They need to really manipulate the zippers and the buttons and the lids. So we're going to be talking a lot about independence and lunches, but buying your stuff ahead of time is a very good idea. Buying the right stuff is a very good idea. You want to set them up for success. You want to give them shortcuts. You don't want to buy extra stuff. So that includes, your shoes, your coats, your clothing. I see kids coming to school with a brand new coat that they don't even know how to zipper up because they've never worn it. In fact, I see kids coming to school with coats and it's too small or it's too big because the parent didn't even have time to try it on the child. So these items should be always practiced at home, always worn in ahead of time. And shoes, make sure they're comfortable, wear them at home. Don't send brand new things that your child has never used before. And finally, such an important one, number 10, unschedule your life. All right, starting kindergarten is a big deal for your child, and it's a big deal for your family. So I want you to think about how you would react when another family member was going through something that was a really big deal. So think about it like if someone was ill, or if someone was grieving, or if someone had a new job, the rest of the family is going to really rally around that person and show them as much support as possible. The way that you can do that is to clear your calendar. We want this experience to go really well, and I'm sure that it will, but you may unexpectedly run into some bumps. Your child's going to be exhausted. Your child is going to need you and need rest and need flow, home time, chill a lot more often than they do right now. These are really full days. So I recommend just looking at September and October 2017 and saying no to as much stuff as you can. These are days that you want to go really slow. You don't want to be traveling. You want to avoid as many parties and special events as possible where your child is expected to behave a certain way, follow a lot of routines, be listening to a lot of instructions. You want to give them a lot of time to rest. So I recommend that. I also recommend that you consider what's happening in your evenings and really unschedule your life. Okay, I had a question about should my child be in programs, and when's the right time to be doing programs. Of course, you'll probably want them in swimming or skating or dance. The fall is probably not a great time to do programs. I would recommend that you just do school and do it well. And if you need to, or you feel you have to because they've already committed to something, definitely do it on the weekend. I see parents picking up their children after school and heading to an activity on a weeknight, and they don't understand how demanding the school day is. It truly is demanding for them, and they have worked really hard all day long. Their play is their work, okay? So don't underestimate how much they're going to be going through mentally, physically, emotionally. Unschedule, okay? Rally around your children, do few things and do them very well. I hope you liked this video. Those are my 10 tips. I'm going to go through them one more time and review. Set a goal, read picture books about school, visit the schoolyard, talk to your preschool, your daycare, look into neighborhood programs, visit the optometrist, strengthen the hands, co-create a calendar, practice new gear, and unschedule. If I've gone too quickly on any of these topics and you want more detail, please let me know. I'm open to you personally messaging me at any time, or you can comment in the box below. I'd also love to hear from you. What is one thing that you connected with today? What's one new thing that you want to try? Thanks.